South Central Los Angeles,
What it is, I'm the Mac, and it feels good to be back here at the Temple with Lucha Underground. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was raised up in the streets of South Central Los Angeles. Coming up, everybody knew I loved wrestling. They said, oh, you'll never be a wrestler, you'll never do anything. But just because you grew up in a bad area with bad people, you don't have to take their path. You just got to make your own.
It looks like he's about to pop a Macweiser. Go on and get yourself some. Cheers to you, Mac, and cheers to you.
How did I feel competing and beating the Deerwolf? Felt amazing. Dude's a former champion and thought he was going to come over here and run over the MACK? Hell no. We talking about the now. And the now is that I beat your ass, plain and simple. My goals this year for Lucha Underground, and I like to put a little more weight on, so to speak, and take that Aztec gold. 2016 will be the year of the Mac. And with the support of fans like you, we're going to keep Lucha Underground going until I'm dead and gone.
Tell me where to go, tell me what to do. I'll be right there for you. Tell me what to say, no matter if it's true. I'll say it all for you, for you, for you.
I used to be the type of kid that...
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Pro Wrestling Experience here on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Hope you guys enjoying the show here. Hour number 2. Don't forget, tonight we got Lucha Underground on the El Rey Network. I'll be covering the show as I do weekly for WrestleZone.com. Always fun watching Lucha Underground each Wednesdays on the El Rey Network. And we got one of the creative forces of Lucha Underground on the program. Glad to welcome back Chris DeJoseph back here on the Pro Wrestling Experience. How's it going, buddy?
It's great, man. Thanks for having me back. I'd love to talk Lucha Underground with you and Chicago.
Absolutely, brother. Let's get into it. Obviously we're 2 episodes in. What's your general thoughts on the feedback so far for this season?
I think it's been overwhelmingly positive and crazy. I think more and more people are finding out about Lucha Underground, and it's catching on, and hopefully it just keeps rolling.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. So obviously we know that Katrina is now basically running the gig here in the Temple. How do you feel about the dynamic? Obviously you're there recording and taping these shows. So how would you compare Katrina's Temple environment as compared to Dario Cueto's Temple environment?
You know, I think it's a little bit different. It's definitely a little darker and more mysterious. You know, I think that Katrina has done a damn good job running the Temple, and you know, maybe she can challenge Dario as proprietor of the year.
And she can hold her own in the ring too, so I don't think she has a lot to worry about.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with her.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen the opening shot of the season with Vampiro in the clinic. Tell us a little bit about the shooting process of that. Is that more of an aspect you like to bring in more this season? Because I thought it was really cool seeing that scene at the beginning of the show. Obviously, Eric Van Wagen and the crew and El Rey Network do an amazing job. But do you think the more visual vignettes is more of an element you like to see in this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do lots of different kind of stuff this season. We take a lot of stuff out of the Temple, whereas last season a lot of the things happened inside of the Temple. This year you'll see more vignettes taking place in different places. So it will be definitely a different element there. But yeah, I mean, we're just going to try our best to tell the best stories we can possible, and sometimes, you know, doing things in an insane asylum is the right answer for us.
At the end of last week's show, we found out that Rey Mysterio is coming to the Temple, and I'm really excited. Obviously, there's a lot of Rey Mysterio fans, and he's a big luchador legend. Do you feel there's going to be a conflict of interest when it comes to like who's the face of Lucha Underground, or you guys don't worry about that stuff? Because for me, when I watch Lucha Underground, I'm not worrying about who's the face of the show. It's just like everybody is a part of the show.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously Rey is a huge piece to Lucha Underground, and quite possibly, the most famous luchador of all time, if not at least guaranteed for this modern era. But I don't think that the way Lucha Underground is structured necessarily makes it that way. I think everybody has an opportunity to go for that Lucha Underground championship. Anyone can win on any night, but I do think Ray definitely adds a huge boost of star power to the show. And I mean, to have somebody like him on Lucha Underground, I mean, it's amazing. Even just to see it backstage in the locker room, the influence that he's had, not only on everybody in the past, as far as, I mean, he's probably the reason that most of the guys on our roster are even wrestling, but just the influence he has overall among everybody, just having him around and having him be a part of the show is it's amazing. I'm
really looking forward to it. The press release came out about a week ago that Lucha's picked up for a third season on El Rey Network. Let me ask you this, Chris. Are you guys done taping season 2, and when does season 3 taping begin?
We are done taping season 2. We finished that a couple weeks ago. So now we're just kind of going through the post-production process, and then hopefully we'll start rolling on season 3 sometime in probably mid-spring.
Okay, cool. Talking to Chris DeJoseph here on the Pro Wrestling Experience on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. I'll be doing the play-by-play tonight at WrestleZone.com, but make sure to check out Lucha Underground and follow them on Twitter at Lucha El Rey. Did you get to see the Super Bowl this past Sunday, and what was your thoughts on it, Chris?
I did get to see the Super Bowl this past Sunday. I thought it was fun. It was a little disappointing for me. I think it sucks for anybody whose team's not there, but when your team loses in the NFC Championship game right beforehand, it was kind of tough. But I enjoyed the game. I'm happy Peyton got one more, and I think Cam and the Panthers will be back for sure. I think you had Kelvin Benjamin back into the mix, and the Panthers are a deadly team.
Yeah, I know you're a big Arizona Cardinals fan, also formerly the Chicago Cardinals, so we kind of got that connection too. So I think for me, just looking at where the NFC is as a whole, I think there may be a good chance that your team may be in the Super Bowl next year in Houston. I think that's a good shot.
They definitely will have a chance, but there's a lot of good teams out there, and we'll see what happens.
Cool. Obviously, the big news in the wrestling world came out this past Monday about Daniel Bryan retiring. I wasn't sure if you were around when he first came to WWE, or if you ever had any interactions with Daniel Bryan. And in general, what's your thoughts on Daniel Bryan and the retirement this past Monday?
Yeah, I was at the WWE when he first arrived, and was on NXT and then part of the Nexus, and I really appreciate Daniel Bryan. I was a fan of his when he was just Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, and it's really he had an excellent and great career, and I'm happy to see that he seemed happy with his decision to move on with his life and seek different opportunities. So. It's a tough one for wrestling fans to see somebody that talented and somebody that over with the crowd have to walk away. But I think sometimes, that's the reality of the business. And I think, like you said, he wants to put his family first.
Yeah. Let me ask you about this. Mil Muerte is obviously the champion. He dealt with a shoulder injury. Maybe I'm answering my own question, but with the fact that he's standing on his own in the temple watching the matches, I think it's a cool element to the show. But I'm just wondering, from a character standpoint, will we ever see Mil Muerte speak on the mic, or is it just a given thing that he doesn't need to talk at all?
He's talked before on the show. You'll see him talk again. So it won't be the last time you see it.
I'm just curious because he's definitely one of the more interesting characters in all of wrestling right now. I think he's an amazing performer.
Yeah, I would say that he's on top of his game right now, and he's just a force out there. He's awesome to watch, and when you're in the temple, you can feel the fear of the believers in the crowd when he even gets close to them. He is an intimidating dude, and you can definitely feel it when you're there live.
Mm-hmm. Chris, Lucha's been doing some good stuff with the marketing and having the fans come up with their own Lucha names on the website, and also I've seen a lot of media members get Lucha matches, which I think is pretty cool. If you had your own character in the temple, what would it be?
Oh gosh, I wouldn't have a character in the temple if I had to have one. I get to help create all the other characters that are in the temple, so that's fine enough for me. Yeah, but for me, I wouldn't necessarily want to do that.
Let me ask you this. So we got Johnny Muno came back. We had PJ Black make his debut in the temple last week. What can we expect to see from PJ as the season goes on?
Well, I mean, I think you'll see PJ's character change and evolve as the season goes on. But I mean, to me, that was like one of the best grabs we got this off season in between the two seasons, was getting PJ to the temple. I know he was already a fan of the show, so it's cool to have him there, and he's a great addition, and what a tremendous athlete.
I'm not into looking into spoilers in that. With doing the play-by-play articles, I take it the opportunity to study the product and just watch the show for what it is at its first running. So I want to know, will there be an Aztec Warfare this year or no? Or for this season?
I think I think last year's Aztec Warfare was such a success, I can't see why we wouldn't want to try to do it again.
Yeah, I'm just curious because obviously we have Ultima Lucha, which is obviously the biggest show there. You have a 2-hour show, but I thought that that in between Aztec Warfare through just one show kind of had that SummerSlam feel. You know what I mean? Like the halfway part.
That is definitely true, and that's kind of what we're trying to do, is kind of brand certain events as annual things that you can see every year and only on Lucha Underground.
True. Lucha Underground tonight on the El Rey Network. Talking to Chris DeJoseph. I'm at Twitter at Chris DeJoseph. A couple more things from a writing standpoint. When it comes to writer's block, especially in the wrestling world, I always hear people say, oh my God, wrestling is so predictable. I mean, pro wrestling's been on television for almost 70 years now. I think everything in the kitchen sink, maybe multiple kitchen sinks, has been dished out on television over years. Do you ever had that writer's block, or do you think there's still a wave of new ways of presenting wrestling today?
I mean, I definitely think there's new ways of presenting wrestling today. I think that's exactly what Lucha Underground does, is present wrestling in a new, different way. We always try to keep our audience asking questions, surprise them, and do what's necessarily predictable traditional wrestling would do. So we're always making a conscious effort to try to keep the show surprising and keep our fans on the edge of their seats.
I talked to Matt Stryker last week, and he said that no matter what you hear from outside of the wrestling universe, or whatever people want to be critical or whatever, you never know what comes with a wrestling show. You may be disgruntled with a product or whatever, but there's always that one thing that catches you by surprise and reminds you why you're a fan. I get that factor with Lucha Underground. Obviously, it's new. Obviously, it's a thing to talk about, but you guys do deliver when it comes to the product and trying to keep us tuning in each week, which I appreciate. I think it's really cool, and I just feel that Lucha Underground is making positive strides in the pro wrestling landscape today, because everybody just tries to replicate a lot of stuff from the past instead of trying to be their own entity.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely something we try to do. We take a lot of risks on the show as far as storytelling and even in-ring stuff. Hopefully, that pays off. I mean, you win some, you lose some, but if you don't swing for the seats, you'll never hit a home run.
Do you lose sleep over the criticism, or do you take it as it is and try to better it?
No, to me, I don't lose any sleep over the criticism. Yeah. I mean, we're so entrenched in making this show. I mean, not only just writing of the show, but post-producing it and getting the show pumped out every week so people can watch it on Lucha on El Rey Network. I try not to lose any sleep over the criticism. I mean, I've been criticized for so many things over my career, so that somebody criticizing this one doesn't really bother me. I expect that. You have to expect that anytime you're doing anything kind of like this. So hopefully we can keep the fans happy, and people will continue to find out about our show and check it out.
True, and obviously nobody's going to be a bigger enemy than yourself. So I can understand why you don't lose sleep over it.
Definitely. I mean, there are times when you do criticize yourself or wonder, gosh, I wish I could have done that better. But I think that's part of anything you do in your professional life. You always want to strive to be the best.
We had I saw the picture on Instagram of Rock rocking a Lucha Underground shirt. How cool is that, huh?
Yeah, that was totally awesome. I kind of freaked out when I saw that. I thought it was cool. I sent some of his people a little message to say, hey, thanks to The Rock for doing that. It all kind of started with Prince Puma sending him a tweet, and then we sent him some T-shirts and stuff. And I guess Rock has checked out the show and thinks it's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's a great endorsement. If you get it from somebody, if you get an endorsement from a guy like him, and we've got one from Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's pretty cool when two of the greatest performers and money-drawing performers in the history of our business take notice of you. It's a good thing.
Tonight we have returning Drago and Jack Evans on the show. That's going to be definitely a really, really good match. Probably the fallout between Pentagon Jr. and Prince Puma last week. What else can we expect on the show tonight, Chris?
I think you'll see another twist in the King Cuerno and Phoenix story. So that should be cool, and you'll also see the debut of a new luchadora, Cobra Moon. So there's lots of stuff going on in the temple, and some more surprises too. So I'll be interested to see what the feedback from our fans are.
And you can check out Lucha Underground tonight on the El Rey Network at 8/7 Central. Make sure to follow Lucha at Twitter at Lucha El Rey, and make sure to follow Chris at Twitter at Chris DeJoseph. Chris, DJ, man, it's always a blast getting to talk to you, buddy. I love promoting the product and covering it for WrestleZone, and love to have you back on the show sometime.
Yeah, I really appreciate it too, and I thank you for your support and to continue to spread the word about Lucha Underground. We love Chicago too, and hopefully we'll just keep making this show and keep growing and growing and getting better and better.